All right, everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil. And over the, we've got a couple of teams here we're going to talk about today that I think I'd like to see you guys working on. And we're going to approach this a little bit differently. Some of these you're going to say, oh, duh. But we're not asking you to build, let's just take, for example, hey, go build Ahsoka. All right, well, it's not just go build Ahsoka. But if you were using Ezra Bridger Exile in your Rey team, then who takes his spot? Or if you were using Sabine with your Mandalorians, who takes that spot? I think a lot of times one of the problems we run into when we build a new team is you don't build the replacements. You don't think about the replacements. You don't think about what's going to happen to that character when you get the desired team, right? When you put them in their right place. And so wherever you've been offsetting them with, now you need a new spot. So we're going to talk through this list, kind of approaching it from that perspective of, hey, you're going to get this new thing, you're going to get this new tool, this new character. Here's how the stuff you want to think about to support that addition, to support where you want to focus your resources beyond just the new shiny toy. So let's get in here and let's talk about the list of what to work on right now. All right, so the first team is a duh. Everybody knows we want to build the Stranger team, and this is the desired team. This is the acceptable team. Obviously, right now, Barriss kind of still sticking with Rey because of the ridiculous cron that she has, but eventually this is going to be the team that we're going to use. So there's a lot of things there. Okay, who do you put in the Rey team instead of Barriss? Visas Mar, again, kind of was being unused. Now, if you don't have Maul hate-fueled, do not fret. Now, if you don't have the Stranger, go get the Stranger. But if you don't have Maul hate-fueled, do not fret. We can always use the OG Maul here as a placeholder. He's a great placeholder in that team. Again, he's got a lot of abilities that kind of trigger the Stranger's abilities, right? That trigger him gaining, alert. When he uses this during his turn and gain alert. Yeah, so he gains alert, which allows him to, whenever you use a special, he can assist. So this is a great placeholder for Maul hate-fueled if you don't have him. Now, if you don't have the Stranger, and, just ignore. But I think a lot of players do have the Stranger. Maybe not having Maul, you need to put this guy in here, Maul hate-fueled. Now, this is the thing that comes up, though. What do you do with Seer? A lot of you have been using Starkiller as a character in there, or maybe you currently have Maul in your Malicos team and pulling him away. Okay, that's going to change the way we use Malicos. So you need that other dark side unaligned force user, and even to a certain extent, you may need additional relic levels on Seer and Cal, depending on where you're using them at, simply because they don't have that protection of, hey, adding Maul in this team ups the damage, you kill things faster. Now that fight's going to drag out a little bit longer. Do you have a way to, stop that? Or you had Starkiller in there, now you need more damage and you're throwing Maul. Like, whatever the case is, you want to make sure that the mix of the characters you're using here, one is good, but also is, that you're putting the relics on these characters that if that fight is going to run longer, you're not going to get deleted, right? One of the best examples I have at times is when I see a player with like a Relic 3 Cal and a Relic 7 Malicos. If Cal gets deleted early, that fight goes south fast. And it goes fast. And when I say south fast, I mean all of a sudden you're like, shoot, I am cooked. So make sure you're thinking about that other character to throw with this team. Obviously, I've got Fulcrum in here. There's a lot of unaligned force users, but you start to whittle that list down where you're like, all right, well, I'm not going to put Balin in there. I'm not going to put Reva in there. JTR can work. Kylo Ren Unmasked is probably the best, but I want to use him with Slicker. So then you're looking at like a Ninth Sister situation, which isn't the worst thing in the world, but she's not a brilliant tank. And now she's got her own team at times. So, very soon you're like, yeah, this team just needs a tank, but got to think about who you're going to put in that team if you can't rely on Starkiller. Now, Satele. I think everybody can agree, hey, Satele's going to be a great unit. And you're going to use Juhani and GAC, Conquest, all that stuff. But for Territory Wars, you will end up using Mission. So, of course, working on your Old Republic Jedi will be very, very important because that's kind of what she wants, right? You got to think about the mods and everything else. But the big question who's going to replace Jedi Knight Revan in your Jedi Master Luke team? If you're one of the players like myself where you were using Jedi Knight Revan with your JML team, who's going with him? Who's taking that spot? And the functionality that you're losing with Jedi Knight Revan. He had a cleanse. He had the ability to ignore taunt. He had, a lot of he's a great character. I love Jedi Knight Revan. But it begs the question, how are you going to update this team now without him? What kind of stuff do you need in order to not miss all of the parts of his kit? Or what character can maybe replace that with other benefits? Like Grandmaster Yoda can spread more buffs. Shock T has a cleanse and a call to assist and a dispel. You've got all sorts of different things that you can use. It just depends on what you're looking to do with this team. But this is an area that I think a lot of people are kind of just like glossing over. We're all excited for Satele, but we're not thinking about who goes with JML. And especially, I think, for people in some of the earlier parts of the game where you don't even have Jedi Knight Cal Kestis. If you have JML, this could be a huge undertaking if you are ending up getting Satele. Because I think even if you're getting her, and I say like, even if you're getting her in 6 conquests, right? Even if you're going for the gold box, going to get her in 6 conquests, this is still something you're going to need to consider. Still something you're going to need to figure out. And if you're in the middle of farming JML, then you got to think, okay, what other Jedi do I need to bring up? Because again, Relic Delta is a thing. I hate to say it. It is a dark truth of the game now that when you're building these new teams and you're building these new characters, you've got to think about the Delta impact and what it looks like for your account. Because everybody's account is going to be different. Obviously for mine, Relic 7 at sometimes you're just like, yikes, it's not quite enough anymore. And that is a scary, sad thing to admit. But it's not the Satele team that I'm worried about as much for people. It's who we put in with JML to make sure that team doesn't just completely fall off a cliff, even though it kind of already has. Now, next, I've got Darth Vader Duel's End. Again, everybody's like, oh, he's great. I love Darth Vader. Right now, obviously, the Relic Delta, you can't really bring the rest of the team up, or it's not as beneficial to you because you're not going to benefit from the Datacron as much, right? Unless you get the Focused. But Royal Guard, Mara Jade, Grand Moff Tarkin, these are characters that aren't very high relic in a lot of accounts, especially if you're in the earlier stages of the game. Think Grand Moff Tarkin's only a Relic 3 requirement for Sith Eternal Emperor. And, unless you get Lord Vader, you probably don't have him above Relic 3. Even with this current raid, I just don't know how many people invested a lot more in him. Mara Jade is only a Relic 5 requirement for Starkiller. Royal Guard for Sith Eternal is only Relic 3. And unless you had Lord Vader prior to the clones being released, you didn't really use Royal Guard ever. So those are a couple of characters I'm looking at, and I'm like, man, people are going to need to invest relics. If you're putting a lot into Vader, trying to get the most out of that team, they are going to need relics. They have hatred, but what you don't want is a situation where a single AoE can completely devastate you, you lose your hatred, and then, you got another one kind of demolishes you as well. You want to be able to stomach a few hits on this team. So that's one that I'm looking at a lot. I think a lot of people do like Vader. He seems to be fantastic already. And it's just a matter of recognizing that you will need to up those relic levels. He's going to be the last character to go farmable, so you still have time. But it is just something to consider if you're sitting there like, I'm going to bring Vader to Relic 9 or Relic 8 or Relic 10, whatever the hell you're going to do. Don't leave your Royal Guard at Relic 3. It's not going to make sense. So think about that situation as well, guys. Kind of just a team to consider putting some additional investment in to get more out of. Now, we got Gungans. You got a token or tokens in the last, not in the last era pass, but in the prior episode pass, we got Gungan tokens. So if you only got one of them, you're 25% of the way there. And there's so many other tokens we've gotten, you've got to have some lingering around. But if you buy the episode pass, you get 2 tokens. You got 2 Gungans at Relics. You're almost 50% of the way there to Jar Jar. That is not bad at all, guys. This is a very doable thing. He's a great character. This is a faction that does some really good things. And as much as we love to crap on it, I talk about a lot how I do think this is an underrated team. It's also just the fact that you're so close to it. You know, this is a team that is self-contained. Everybody you build for this team, you use with Jar Jar. There's no waste here. Like, this is not a team where, you know, all right, well, I unlocked Dr. Aphra. I have no way to use, you know, Pirate Hondo. I mean, you might, but maybe you don't. I have no way to use Sana. All right, and I need to build IG-90 now, and I need another, you know, character to throw with her. Or you go for Star Killer, and you need a Rebel Fighter team for Kyle, and you need Smugglers for Dash. Like, this is a team that, hey, these are the guys you use with him, and they are good. Like, I know we like to crap on them, but this is a good team, and it is worth grabbing. It is worth building. So, again, and because they're all kind of, like I said, you know, because they're all right here, it is pretty simple. And you could say, well, Phil, I'm not going to get any more tokens. Well, what about these ones in here in the era shipments? For a lot of you, if you buy the episode pass and you're like in that mid-game range, buying these tokens is a great decision, and using them for Gungans to then help you get Jar Jar faster is a brilliant decision in my opinion. Like, that is a good use of them. Or, hey, I bought these two things, I'm going to spend them on these things, and then I'll just use some gear for Gungans. Whatever you want to do. But I do see that as a big win-win. I'm a big believer that when you're kind of close to a character, it's worth taking a little bit of time and unlocking them, simply because the longer those tokens that you know, those Gungan tokens, you have them at Relic 3 and say a Relic 1 or whatever, the longer that sits in your account and does nothing, the less valuable it is to you. The final point I do want to leave you with, the final point I would like you to just kind of consider is, you know, understanding that right now, teams are getting a lot more rigid. We are seeing a lot more rigidity with teams where characters are getting specific call-outs, where it's very obvious of who's supposed to go with them. Now, that's not a bad thing, but it does mean that when you're going through and trying to finish a farm, you have to be much more deliberate. You have to be much more aware of the gear you're putting on characters and how that's going to help you, whether that's just an immediate help or whether that's a long-term solution to the problem. And just to kind of give you a, you know, semi, if you will, example of that, we're going to use Jocasta with Jedi Vanguard. So if you go get Keller and Beck, you got Jocasta in that team, you know, that's going to be fine. But eventually when you unlock Jedi Master Mace Windu, Jocasta kind of follows him. So now you would need a replacement for the Keller and Beck team, or you would need to just, you know, move Beck somewhere else. And that comes down to understanding the dynamics there of what Jedi you would and wouldn't use with him. But having them in place, having those in mind, will help you in that unlock process, that you don't just sit with a bunch of relics that are being underutilized or not used at all because you weren't fully prepared for what that new team would bring to your account. Also, I do apologize. I talked with my right hand a lot in this video. I felt like I was doing this all the time. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down below. Hope this helps. Like, subscribe, comment. Love you guys. May the force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.